These instructions are for replacing the old Maas-Rowe GPS Master Clock interface, version 4.04 firmware, using the Motorola M12 timing module, replacing it with the new GPS Master Clock interface, version 5.0 firmware, using the Neo 6M GPS module. The new interface comes with its own antenna jumper with the SMA bulkhead connector. The M12 used an MCX to SMA connector, where the Neo uses a micro FL to SMA connector. I recommend using a 6-way screwdriver nut driver combination, sold at any hardware store for a few dollars. First, disconnect the power at the 12-inch by 12-inch gray utility box by either turning off the switch or unplugging the 110V AC power cord at the wall outlet, if no switch exists. The earlier 12-inch by 12-inch gray utility box was generally plugged into a standard outlet. Some were hardwired, so you will need to find the breaker and shut off the power there. Next, remove the antenna connection from the SMA bulkhead connector. Next, remove the nut and lock washer holding the SMA bulkhead connector to the enclosure. Next, remove the 4 screws holding the module into the mounting box. Be careful to not let the module drop, as this could break the antenna jumper cable. Next, pull the jumper cable out so that it isn't accidentally strained. Next, remove the power data connector. Take notice that the male connector has an index that prevents wrong insertion. To install the new GPS master clock, reconnect the power data connector. Make sure that the male connector index is properly aligned with the female connector's index insertion. Make sure that the male connector is firmly seated and that there are no pins bent to where they are showing alongside the male connector. Next, replace the jumper cable's bulkhead connector, lock washer, nut, and tighten the nut. Next, place the new GPS master clock into the enclosure and replace the screws. Next, reconnect the antenna cable to the bulkhead connector and power up the GPS master clock. The new GPS master clock starts at a default date that represents the firmware release date at 1:59:55. The reason is that 2 a.m. is the standard daylight saving time change. The new GPS master clock has its own internal clock calendar chip and only pulls the Neo 6M GPS module at 2 a.m. to keep the internal clock synchronized. Pressing reset will force the firmware to pull the GPS module for the date and time. Please review the user manual for further details. Once the startup has initiated, the GPS master clock will start sending the clock drives to the time in the display. If it takes a long while for the GPS to capture the satellite data, then you will need to examine that the antenna connector is fully seated. Cracked, broken, or missing antennas will affect data capture. Antenna age, position, obstructions, or proximity to a powerful power line or transmission sources can affect data capture. Sometime a standard GPS antenna with cable can be used to test the GPS master clock within the room that the GPS master clock is installed.